Indonesia boasts a population of 280 million people, the fourth largest in the world. Of these, over 100 million are under the age of 20. While numerous countries are grappling with low birth rates and potential future labour shortages, Indonesia's abundance of young people is regarded as a powerful advantage and strength. This demographic represents a valuable human resource and a foundation on which to build the nation's future. Regrettably, though, many of these young people are being harmed by cigarette smoke. Indonesia is often referred to as Disneyland of the tobacco industry due to this huge population of young people and relatively lenient tobacco control laws. It has become an attractive target for tobacco companies, and cigarettes are sold everywhere, even in traffic. In many countries, selling single cigarettes from an open pack is illegal, in an attempt to prevent children gaining easy access to them. That is not, however, the case in Indonesia. All sizes of billboard are installed across the country advertising cigarettes, especially outside Jakarta. These contribute to a large number of people being enticed into smoking. Approximately 45% of the population, or more than 100 million people in Indonesia, smoke cigarettes. Many of them are children, aged 13, 14 and 15 years old. Mariati, an Indonesian woman, is the owner of a small convenience store. Her son started smoking shortly after his first birthday. People would come to buy cigarettes at her store, puffing on one as they did so, leaving their cigarette butts on the floor. These became toys for the little boy, who innocently put them in his mouth. Mariati said that her son began picking up cigarette ends from the floor while playing, and eventually started smoking them. She confesses that there was no one to look after him at the time. When something kept her son from crying, she let him play, until the day when he walked up to her and expressed his desire to smoke. As the addictive nicotine in cigarettes began to take a hold on his body, the boy, who could now walk and speak, started pleading for cigarettes from his parents. Mariati said she reluctantly agreed to light one for him to smoke, because the child threw terrible tantrums when his demands were rejected. Mariati said that when she saw her child unable to breathe because he was crying so hard, she was heartbroken. She didn't want him to die, so she gave the child cigarettes. Kids in general tend to go for candies, but this particular boy opted for cigarettes instead. The influences of the addictive substances they contain have altered this young boy's behavior. Mariati's son is not the only innocent child in Indonesia who is addicted to smoking at such a young age. Data from the World Health Organization indicates that a significant number of children here start smoking at around 10 years old. Once they get addicted, quitting is extremely difficult. As the day winds down, public parks become tranquil for people seeking relaxation after a busy day at work or school. Akman Bisa Musakia, a young Indonesian boy, tells us that he first tried smoking at the age of 10, influenced by his father and those around him. He used to save his allowance intended for school to buy single cigarettes. At that time, his father didn't allow him to smoke. When he turned 13, however, he received his father's permission to start. Akman said his father allowed him to smoke because he smoked as well. His father even suggested that if he can't get enough sleep, cigarettes could help. Akman's father died of lung cancer. His son, however, continues to smoke every day, even though he desperately wants to quit. Quitting smoking is especially difficult when he's constantly surrounded by smokers. Cigarette stalls are readily accessible and their affordability draws him in every day.
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
Indonesia is the world's 5th largest tobacco and cigarette producer. The tobacco industry plays a significant role in the country's economy, providing employment for millions of people and generating substantial tax revenues for the government. Although there's clear scientific evidence that smoking harms health, every Indonesian government still hesitates to enact stricter tobacco control laws. These economic benefits, combined with the lobbying power of the tobacco industry, seem to outweigh the harms caused by nicotine. In this country, there are a staggering 3,800 tobacco companies, both multinational corporations and local companies. They, unsurprisingly, are prosperous and influential. They embed themselves into people's lives, specifically targeting children and youth through educational support, music and sports event sponsorship.
Yeah, they're so powerful because they're one of the richest people in Indonesia, and as you know, they're everywhere because they construct this image that we need them. So first of all, like if we go to the concert, we go to the concert that is sometimes sponsored by tobacco and we don't even realize it. And we go to the cinema, we watch cartoon, and then it's sponsored by, tobacco advertisement before we watch the movie. And there are scholarships as well, and even our athletes, some of them are being funded and trained by big tobacco.
Still?
Yes, and some of our sports events as well. So, and even movies. So this is very staggering that they're trying to consciously construct a good image that we need them, we owe them. And then they also spread propagandas like, what about the laborers? What about the farmers, right? If we enforce better tobacco control measures, what happened to the workers? But actually, we also want to spread the message that it is actually a big lie because they don't care a single second about the farmers or the workers.
Tobacco companies target 10 to 14-year-olds because the sooner nicotine addiction takes effect, the harder it is to quit. It guarantees a loyal customer base well into the future.
Because youth are, long-term customers for tobacco industry, right? Once they smoke in their youth, they will keep smoking for the rest of their lives. They will get hooked. And this is how we see, because they don't attract the old people to smoke, right? Why should they? Their lifespan is short, and they're not very profitable for the industry. So they try to attract the young people, to lure them through their concerts, through their movies, through their advertisement, through their scholarships, through their sports events, everywhere. So we can say confidently, but sadly, that Indonesia is the last Marlboro country.
This marketing strategy has been highly effective, as the number of smokers in Indonesia increases every year. Indonesia is the only country in the Asia-Pacific region, and one of only 16 countries worldwide that have not yet ratified the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. Without the obligation to comply with various tobacco control measures, it allows the tobacco industry's marketing to flourish. Many tobacco farms in Indonesia also employ thousands of child labourers, some as young as 8 years old. This puts these children at risk of developing cancer, respiratory problems, and exposes their young bodies to nicotine toxicity. This Indonesian girl told us that she went to the tobacco farm with her father to water the tobacco plants. She said she vomited after watering the plants due to their strong smell. Those who don't smoke yet are still exposed to harm from cigarettes, especially the children employed in tobacco plantations. Their tasks involve watering, fertilizing, weeding, harvesting, drying and tying tobacco leaves. Despite the inappropriate use of child labor, These children come into direct contact with tobacco leaves and cannot avoid health problems caused by the toxins contained in them. This is another problem arising from tobacco, with children being the ones who bear the consequences. Cigarettes here are sold everywhere, like candy or chewing gum. There's a wide variety of cigarette brands, popular ones from large companies and locally produced brands. Amidst the cigarette smoke that permeates the entire city, a small community by the canal in Jakarta is working to eliminate smoking, at least within their homes. Sumadi, one of the leaders of the Smoke-Free House project, mentions that he himself smokes, but after becoming aware of its harmful effects, he initiated the Smoke-Free House project. He explained that smoking is prohibited inside the house, not outside, as he feels sorry for the children who inevitably inhale the second-hand smoke. Each year, cigarettes are responsible for as much as 21% of deaths in the Indonesian population. This includes not only direct smokers, but also individuals who fall ill or die due to second-hand smoke exposure. Patients suffering from various diseases caused by smoking, such as lung cancer, heart disease, stroke, emphysema and asthma, place a significant burden on the government in terms of healthcare expenses. The economic losses incurred are immense.
So it's good, right?
This woman mentioned that the smoking ban indoors helped her mother's illness. Responsible smokers, at least, choose to smoke in designated open areas. Apart from cigarettes being easy to purchase, cheap, and allowed to be smoked in all areas, age restrictions on smoking are not strictly enforced here. Although the law prohibits selling cigarettes to people under 18, it is frequently ignored. Children are often sent by adults to buy them. Stores also sell them without caring about the age restriction. The community leader told us that he tried to persuade grocery stores not to sell cigarettes to children, but the store's excuse is that they need to earn money. In addition, cigarettes are easier to afford and more convenient when sold individually. This becomes a significant inducement for children who don't have their own income, as they can easily afford one or two at a time. A group of young people successfully escaping the addictive cycle of smoking has come together to campaign against cigarettes.
My grandfather died because of smoking. Yeah, so he got a stroke for almost 10 years, and he was a good man. I think he was a good family man, and but his last words were cigarettes.
He asked for cigarettes?
Yes, in his last moments, and that really struck me because he was a very good man, and I just realized that he was not the only one. Like a lot of people actually like him, you know. They were good people with good visions, want to contribute to their family, to their country, but then eventually they fell into addiction of cigarettes.
They've bypassed raising awareness of the dangers of smoking, as they believe that most people already have the information but continue to smoke, unable to quit. So, their efforts focus on uncovering the intentions of and benefits to the tobacco industry.
So what we do is we try to give them a wake-up call, right? We do not say that there are 3,000, addictive substances, dangerous substances in cigarettes, blah, blah, blah. We are way past beyond that. What we are going to say, what we do when we approach the young people is like, do you know that you've been lied to?
Cigarettes contain addictive substances that harm health, affect those around the smokers, and deplete finances. It's common to find cheap cigarette shops in Indonesia, accompanied by both direct and covert cigarette advertising, as families and peers who smoke also influence others to take up the habit. For those caught up in the cycle of smoking, especially young people, quitting is extremely hard. When news of a 2-year-old smoker surfaced, authorities began inspections. Society was watching, ultimately compelling the child's parents to stop giving him cigarettes. The mother of the former boy smoker stated that her son has successfully quit smoking. Whenever she comes across a cigarette butt, however, he glances at her anxiously. If she happens to inquire about his actions, he consistently denies any involvement. Here, cigarettes hold no different a status than snacks or food. They're cheap and easy to buy, with few restrictions on where one can smoke. This kind of environment leaves children without safe havens from the harmful smoke. The mother added that preventing her son from smoking was difficult because of the surrounding context. Cigarette shops are everywhere. The community leader remains concerned that protecting children from smoking is very difficult, as some parents continue to send their children to buy cigarettes. He believes that preventing young smokers starting must begin with the parents. Like many Indonesians, Akman has considered quitting smoking and has tried, but he found it to be very challenging. A significant obstacle in his journey to quit is the environment, as many people around him are smokers, making giving up even harder. Undoubtedly, Disneyland stands out as the most renowned amusement park in the world, celebrated for its iconic architecture, beloved cartoon characters, and array of rides that bring joy, laughter, and delight to children. Although no branches of this amusement park are located in Indonesia, the country is ironically referred to as the Disneyland of the tobacco industry, also targeting children. What this brings to the children here are countless types of toxin, slowly consuming their lives and jeopardizing their futures.